Hey, Read Through the Word. Today is August 21st, and today's lesson is called For His Name. And we are in Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 39 is where our lesson is coming from today. It says, "As for you, O people of Israel, this is what the sovereign Lord says. Go right ahead and worship your idols, but sooner or later you will obey me and will stop bringing shame on my holy name by worshiping idols." So, Ezekiel chapter 20 is, if I'm not mistaken, I think I went into details about a lot of the stuff last year. But let's do a short recap of the Old Testament, which is basically what happens in Ezekiel chapter 20. It is, but let's remember and put in context what's going on so we can remember. That's why today's lesson is called For His Name. Hashem, the name. So, the Jewish people would not say, Yahweh or Jehovah. They had used either Adonai or they would say Hashem. To avoid saying it, it would be the name. And I think I did a lesson on that one day as well. But the name of God and God of who He is, the God of the Bible, His purposes, His purpose with Adam and Eve was made humans in His own image so that then they could be His representatives in the earth to show people to Him. Well, that went downhill really quickly. And so God had chosen a man and made this man, who was too old to have children, into a family. And so that God's name, God Himself, would be made known. And that was going to be the purpose of the family. Remember, He told Abraham the fourfold promise that He gave Abraham, that ending with, I will, excuse me, I will, through you the whole world will be blessed, and through you the whole world will know my name. And so God made this family into a people. Took them as a family of 70 down into Egypt after the whole Joseph incident. And they end up down in Egypt, and there God allows them to prosper till they come out as a people group of 2 million, about 2 million people, we talked about a lot. And so then they cross over. Remember, we've talked about this before in the beginning of the book of Joshua. Once they step foot into the Jordan River, I think it's, I'm going off memory right now, Joshua chapter 4, I think that's it. And it says, when they put their feet into the Jordan River and then it parts, it says, and until the whole nation walked across on dry land. So God has taken a man and made him into a family into a people into a nation. And this is their history: idolatry and rebellion. So Ezekiel chapter 20 is a history of rebellion. They sit down at the beginning of chapter 20. I think I used this as our something old, but it says, on August 14th, During the 7th year of the king Jehoiakim's captivity, some of the leaders of Israel came to request a message from the Lord, and they sat down in front of me to wait for his reply. And so they come to get an answer from God, and this is the answer they get. Ezekiel 20 is a history about how the very chosen ones had turned their backs on Hashem to idols. You're like, oh, well, no. Like, that's their history. Israel rebelled when they left Egypt. And they did not abandon their Egyptian idols. They brought them with them. Exodus 20, verse 7, God talks about the detestable idols from Egypt. Israel then, so that's the first part of chapter 20 of Ezekiel, like 4 through 12. The next verses, 13 through 17, goes through that Israel rebelled against God at Mount Sinai and worshipped idols. Like, you remember, Moses had gone up on the mountain of God, and he's gone for too long, and they're like, God's destroyed this God of Moses, we don't need. The God that brought us out of Egypt. Let us drop mine aren't gold, mine are wood. Put our gold earrings in, and out popped an idol. And let's worship it because it brought us. So that's Ezekiel. I'm in Ezekiel right now. Exodus chapter 32, verse 1. And then, so you would think they might learn their lesson. But no, this continues to be the story. It's our story too. Okay, so the generation in the wilderness rebelled against God by yoking herself to idolatrous nation. Numbers 25 is a good record of that occurring. In Canaan, Israel sacrificed to idols on the high places, and it said, and under every green tree. Any place they could find, they had sacrificed to an idol. That's what they did. And here we see at the beginning of this chapter, even in exile, they are thinking they should worship like idols like the other nations. And they want to see what God has to say about it. Like they don't know the answer. As God reminds them, this is your history. This is who you are. But if we look back, step by step by step, from a man to a nation, a man to a family, from a family to a people, from a people to a nation. And then as they go into the nation, they went from a nation, then they became a united kingdom, then they became a divided kingdom, and then one kingdom got sent out into, like, scattered all over the place. The next kingdom is in exile now. And all because of idolatry. When the one thing they had been given to do was to make his name great, for the sake of his name, for the glory of his name. Remember, the key to Ezekiel is the glory of God. The glory of his name is why they exist. To make his name great to the ends of the earth. To take his name to every nation. That's who they are. That was their purpose. And they forgot about it. Even sitting in exile, these people that were supposed to make Hashem, the name, great, looked everywhere else for greatness. Here they are still inquiring of the Lord if they should be worshiping the other idols. No. Even sitting in the place of their judgment, they continue to embrace their sin when God had set them free from all of their idols. But they keep running back. When their purpose was to declare his glory among the nations. And they didn't do it. So even in God's judgment, is mercy, because mercy triumphs judgment. James 2:13. Even that, they wouldn't make his name great to the nations, so he took them to the nations to make his name great. And you know what? We're called to the same thing. It's all about his name, for his name, for people to know the greatness of our God. And he wants to use us to make his name great among the nations. And I pray he finds us faithful, starting at home, making those in our community know him and how good and great he is, to the glory of his name. I'll see you next time on Read Through the Word.